Hello. So we are trying something new because I'm taking the weekend off. It's a thing. So when one of us is going to be off on a Saturday, which might happen again in the future, don't panic. It's totally normal. We will be back to our regularly scheduled lifestyle with you as soon as possible. We will be doing the show pre-recorded, and this is kind of a precursor to starting to get Tuesdays off the ground as well. So just bear with us. We are still settling in. It is coming at you live from our first month. This is a 1 month anniversary show. What? So like people dating in high school, we're really excited about this first month.
Do we get promise rings or like?
Oh, that would be uncomfortable, wouldn't it? Don't make me relive my high school. Gross. You know who you are. I'm looking at the 4 girls from my graduating high school class that I can think of that did have promise rings, and the one girl that went to a special ball with her dad.
Aww.
Uncomfortable. It's a beautiful sentiment.
Oh, no.
It's just a little strange. That is you being punished for mocking me. You're welcome. Earlier, I was struggling with the setup for this, and Emily just literally sat and laughed at me.
Yeah. I mean, what else was I gonna do?
Help! You could have helped.
Nah.
There was no help forthcoming. She was like, oh, well, maybe you won't die this time. It was such an attack. Anyway, so here we are. We're going to do our normal show, pre-recorded. Hopefully you don't hate it. Right up front this time, I'm going to be honest. Please like and subscribe to this video. And there is a notifications thing that is apparently shaped like a bell. I don't know where it's located around this screen that you're watching this on, but if you could click on that as well, we would love that.
While we're like pledging for things, can they also sign up to our newsletter?
Yes, please go sign up for the newsletter. You can do that on our website, which is getflocked.co.nz. We are navigating our way through many, many things. We have some fun stuff on the horizon. That's that, right?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm saying an awful lot. It's because I didn't plan this out. Usually I like to write like a list of what we're going to talk about, and I figured we could just wing it. And that might not have been the wisest choice, but here we are anyway. So, Emily.
Yes.
What's going on with you? Tell us a story.
I'm making my fluffle.
It's fluffle time.
It's fluffle time, and I love it. And
So
I was
good.
worried because the fluffle is like 500 stitches or something, that it was going to take like 10 years to do the fluffle, but this is only 2 nights work. And I'm
Okay.
like 3/4 of the way done. So I feel like I'll be finished today or tomorrow.
That is some hot fluffle action.
Yeah. I mean, it could be more ruffly, I feel like, but we're going to just go with it because I think it'll relax a bit once the cable's out of there.
I agree.
But I'll see if I can hold it up so you can see the rest of it.
Very
Because
good.
I
People are
love
going
it.
to love that.
Oh, it's hard to get the orientation right at the moment because the cable's kind of distorting the shape a bit.
Right, but it is super cute.
Yes, and
Now-
it fits. I've blocked it once already.
And this is what colorway?
This is sweet pea. Both the Boucle and the sock is sweet pea.
And that's in Hedgehog Fibre,
Yes.
Alpaca Boucle, and Hedgehog Fibre sock.
Yes.
Amazing.
And I think I've used just under 3 skeins for the body.
So good.
Yeah. So I have a spare sweet pea to make something else.
I wonder what you could do.
And yeah, I really like it. Like there was kind of more lace than I realized, but we got there. And
I do think the photos in Pom Pom, I haven't looked at any of the product pages, but the photos in Pom Pom definitely are slightly misleading to the volume of lace, and also just to the general jumper. Like you can tell me that I'm wrong, but when I looked at it and then I saw what you've done, which I do love, it just didn't quite look the same to me, but that could also be me.
Yeah. But I'm quite proud of my, like last time I did lace on my spotlight shawl, it went very wrong and I had to rip it all out and start again. And I didn't have any major boo-boos. Like there's a few odd little bits, but nothing particularly that stands out.
The good
To
news
me,
is the
anyway.
lace is geometric and relatively busy, so I
Yeah.
feel like it would hide mistakes.
Plus with the yarn being different colours.
Speckles.
Yeah. So yeah,
Well, that is good.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to finish the ruffle. And
If
wear
you
it.
were rating this pattern, where would you put it on like a clarity standpoint?
It was pretty good. Like, I didn't use the chart, I have to admit. I used the written instructions, which,
I don't think
is
there's
what it
anything
is.
wrong with using a written instruction versus a chart.
yeah, it just meant, like, I had to, like, look at it a few times. But then, because it was just, like, 9 stitches or whatever, and then it repeats going around. So once you've done it a few times, then it settles in.
Then it's stuck in. Well,
Yeah.
that's good to hear.
And like it's a really easy start because it's bottom up, so you're just doing like ribbing and stockinette, and there's not much shaping, so it was quite simple.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Pom Pom does have a history of releasing relatively simple to knit things, not in a good or bad way. It's kind of the nature of the constraint of magazines due to the limited nature of their publishing. It can be really tricky to get incredibly complex designs onto those pages in a way that translates well to the end user. That's been my experience.
Plus, they're trying to appeal to like a broad
Yes.
spectrum of like.
Everyone but me with the issue that she's
Yeah.
talking about.
My two favorite issues are your 2 least favorite issues, I feel like.
What's your other favorite issue?
The
The
quilting
quilting one. The quilting one was a particular source of frustration for me because it was an extremely yarn forward issue with some lovely ideas in it that were executed in yarns that were next to impossible to substitute for, that are not widely available, and they used a lot of what is referred to now as a micro dyer. So that is somebody who operates in smaller batch sizes than an indie dyer. And I think if they had done a more thoughtful coordination with other micro dyers or indie dyers around the world vis-a-vis the release and launch of the magazine, it would have made more sense in the quilting edition and in many of their editions. I find it frustrating when magazines use yarns that are almost impossible to substitute for.
I feel like that's part maybe because I'm just a bit oblivious to the like technicalities of substituting. So I'm just like, oh, I'll just wing it with this thing this close. Whereas you're more like, you want it to be.
Well, you have to be able to find the right yarn that's fit for purpose.
Yeah.
And because of the way a lot of patterns are written today, which is I would refer to as a yarn forward design style. Now, there are great yarn forward design styles that I will talk about shortly because I'm knitting one right now that have an incredibly beautiful outcome and are worth the hunt to find the right yarn. But there are also a lot of patterns where it's not worth it and it should be more substitutable. I think a publication that is international with the kind of reach that Pom Pom and Lina, I'm just going to call them both out, have, should try to do something closer to what is done by Interweave and Vogue Knitting, where they attempt to use commercially available yarns spun to specific specifications. Doesn't mean there's not great patterns in those magazines. It just means you might have to think a little bit about how and what you're going to knit them with before you start, and it does lead to me not stocking them. Like, I'll be honest, it's really painful and uncomfortable for me to sell someone a magazine that I feel like I can't provide them the yarn to knit the things in the magazine with. And it's just bad. It feels like I'm ripping people off, and I don't like that. I'm working on 2 projects. One could be described as a yarn forward design, and one is not a yarn forward design. So I'm going to tell you about my projects, then we're going to take a little break and cut right back, and I'm actually going to talk about the difference between yarn forward design and non-yarn forward design, and we will explain to you how these things work, which is great. So I'm working on my What the Fade at the moment. I keep picking it up and knitting random rows. I did have to rip out quite a bit on this project, which was very frustrating, but I'm now well underway again and just chipping away at it. It's quite a lot of garter stitch. I might keep working on it quite quickly, I might not. You never really know with me in a shawl. I tend to get quite frustrated with the giant rows. it's a bad habit of being a garment knitter where you're often knitting really small rounds and rows, especially when it comes to sleeves and things like that. And I'm just working till the end of this row, and then I'm going to switch. And for the rest of this podcast, I'm going to knit on my other project. So this is What the Fade by Andrea Mowry. In case you missed it, there was a massive pattern sale from Andrea this week. She had 40% off on all of her patterns. We are proud to carry yarns that would work for 99% of those patterns, which until I looked through her library when people were asking us lots of questions during the sale, I hadn't necessarily thought of, but we have a big, fun selection of things, and in many cases, the actual yarns used in the designs. For example, I'm using the final What the Fade original colors kit right now to knit my What the Fade, which is pretty fun and does feel kind of special. And I also obviously just finished a shift again, which I don't think I shut up about the entire time I was knitting it. I'm so sorry, everyone. This is a really fun design. I'm through all of the brioche. So the brioche happens first, and then you get into just a big garter stitch fade. It's really straightforward and simple. I would absolutely recommend this. I did not think this would be a great beginner brioche project, but now that I know how straightforward it is, I've actually changed my mind about that. I do think it would be a great beginner brioche project, and I think everybody should give it a try. I'm not saying that you're gonna fall in love with brioche and wanna knit absolutely everything in it, but I do think that there is a lot of fun to be had with brioche knitting that we shouldn't miss out on, and there's no reason to be afraid of brioche knitting. And I think, based on an earlier conversation, that you guys might get to watch an evolution of Emily learning brioche over the next little bit and trying some brioche projects, which I hope will be helpful, because with me, I kind of came into most of your lives who are watching this as a fully formed knitter, and I worry occasionally that it can be intimidating to see the things I make and the speed that I knit at and think that, like, it's not achievable, but it is. And Emily's become a much faster knitter as well. Like, from a scarf that took an entire year to many, many projects in next to no time, right?
Yeah, I'm a bit slower with the boucle because the little loops, you have to like check where you're knitting.
Yes.
But yes, I think I've got faster. This one has been a bit slow because I've done like 4 things at the same time. So I started it ages ago, but I've knit like 3 or 4 garments.
Yes, you have, absolutely, which has been really good.
Yeah, and it's quite good to break it up because it makes it feel like it's gone faster. Like, because it's just a lot of stocking it at the beginning. And it kind of paces it out.
I have also started a Bibliophile 3 by Alicia Plummer. Now, if you know me, and you might not, you might be watching this for the first time. You might not even knit and be watching this, which, like, why are they still here? But anyway, I'm funny. You're still here for that. So I started my Bibliophile 3. I knit my raglans out of order. So most patterns will tell you to start at the neck, knit the whole body, knit the sleeves, come back and do the finishing. I personally find that quite frustrating. I pretty much followed the pattern exactly as written. I made the neckline slightly deeper, but that is due to the fact that the last few rolled necklines I have done, while I love them, have not sat as high as I would like. I have, relative to my bust size, large upper back muscles, and they tend to distort most sweaters and stretch them in certain places, even when I knit them to the correct size. So my compensatory adjustment for this is now to knit my neckline ribbing deeper so that it gives me more coverage, because I want jumpers that come all the way up to the base of my neck, which in a cream jumper is going to be great, and it's never going to look dirty, and I won't have to repeatedly wash just around the collar area of this jumper. That's a lie. I started this on Sunday, the Sunday that just happened. This is part of our top-down jumper class. This is the pattern I recommended. There's a men's version and a women's version, Bibliophile 2, Bibliophile 3. It is by Alicia Plummer. I am knitting this in Wild Earth Naturals DK in cream. This one has 2 ball bands for some reason, because I have a whole bunch of empty ball bands. This is super beautiful to work with. It's a really dense, thickly spun DK/8-ply yarn.
I love the like little halo it's giving.
Yeah, there's just a touch of halo to it, and I'm really enjoying it. It's all natural, it's barely been processed, and I'm finding the knitting really, really enjoyable. And I won't stop talking about it. I keep kind of shoving it at people, being like, here, have you washed your hands recently? Touch my jumper, because it's cream. So like I want to make sure people's hands are clean. Inspect people's hands before they touch your cream knitwear. So we're gonna pop off for about 2 seconds. It might just be a little bloop bloop on the video. We're gonna get ready to talk to you about some of the new stuff that we have in shop, some exciting things that are already on their way from our overseas partners, and also, last and certainly never least, what the difference is between yarn forward and non-yarn forward design, as we can show by the projects that we have with us. Won't that be fun? Okay, we'll be right back. So we have a reasonable amount of yarn to talk to you about. It's everywhere! So we have 2 new DK weight bases, new to us.
Mix them all up now.
Oh, look at that. Do we want to start with some Edens or some Ashleys?
Edens.
Okay, great. Spoiler alert, we have Eden and Ashley. They are produced by Wild Earth. One is the Eden, which is what we're going to talk to you about first. So Eden is a 100% Polworth DK weight yarn. If you know us, you know we love Polworth, so this was really exciting to come across. It has a great hand feel. I have a sweater quantity of this at home to make a Trinnigan.
There's just too many things I want to make. I want to make everything.
Yes.
And all the yarns.
All the yarns all the time.
They're such pretty colors.
They are very pretty colors. I am a big fan of this whole situation. And also, like, there's no bad ones. Even I like this,
really
which is
like
quite
that.
surprising.
Like,
I think I famously don't like brown, and yet
same.
I'm
drawn
okay
to
with
these kind
this.
of gingery browns at the moment. I don't know if it's like a winter thing. Like
okay.
Autumny, pumpkin spice vibe.
Maybe your cat has like given you some sort of
True.
toxoplasmosis for ginger brown.
Between my cat and my husband and my stepson, there's
there's a lot of ginger up in there. It's everywhere. So these are some of the colors on the Eden 8-ply. So it is a really great, I think you have an Ashley there in your hand.
I do.
Okay.
I wanted this on purpose. I wanted to show the difference between the purples.
Oh, so the Eden 8-ply, one more time, 50-gram ball. I don't think I even said that, which is super unhelpful. 50-gram ball. It's New Zealand Polworth wool. It's grown and processed here in Canterbury, which we know, which is super cool. It is non-superwash. It's from Wild Earth Yarns, and I think that it's about 110 meters to the ball. Am I just blind?
Yeah.
It's right there. I've looked at it 4 times. I need bigger glasses, obviously. That's the solution to this problem. I don't even have a problem reading up close. It's distance. Yikes. So we love this yarn.
And there's a few more colors than we're holding, but I
Yes.
couldn't carry them all. There's a darker blue.
There is a darker blue.
And
I think
cream.
I have a Blossom at home, and we're pretty jazzed about Blossom.
Yeah.
So yes, so there are creams and other things and wonderful things. Then we also have I can get that out of your way, the Ashley is new to us. So we have Ashley and Eden 8-ply and Aspen 8-ply. We have it's New Zealand, so we have a lot of 8-ply, which will be helpful for all of you.
And there's the Vespers, which
And
is
the Vespers.
also made by Wild Earth.
Made by Wild Earth, yes.
For Lisa F.
And basically everything except for and please note, you will need to swatch still, but one of the great things about having multiple DK weight yarns that are all non-superwash and all 100% wool is that it gives us a massive color palette to play with, because you can mix and match between them and do beautiful subtle tonal things like what Emily is about to show off right now.
So I just wanted to show the difference. I can't tell if I'm holding it in the right place, but so this one is Plum, this is the Eden, and this one is Lupin. So this Eden is slightly darker, a little bit more purpley, I would say.
Yes.
But yeah, I just wanted to show the people that.
So the Ashley 8-ply is 100% non-superwash merino with a beautiful color palette. There are 8 colors on it at the moment.
Yes.
8. Yes. Autumn, forest, something. Ocean. There we go. Daisy maybe is the white?
No, cloud.
Cloud is the white.
And sunflower.
Too easy to remember. Sunflower is really beautiful.
And tussock.
We love tussock. We're big fans.
I quite want to use tussock with some boucle as like a neutral background to make the boucle shine.
Well, I'm sure you can make that dream come true.
Because we also have, so there actually is in 8-ply and in 4-ply.
Yes.
Same colours.
Great. So that's kind of what we've got that's new this week, just in case you want to stop in anytime, 24 hours a day on the website and take a browse around, have a good time. We also have a spin cycle on the way, which is very exciting. It's already ready to go. I have done some ordering for it, but we did open up a pre-order so that you guys have a chance to secure kind of what you want. Those of you who pay attention to the newsletter and to our podcast will be able to get in there and secure your desired skeins. Some of them are already pretty sold. Just as a side note, people noticed that we put this up and dove right in, which we are very grateful for. Whenever anyone makes a purchase, it is still... I'm still not past the thrill of it, personally. I don't know. Yeah. It's pretty
My
exciting.
favorite is when it's like a new person.
Yes.
Like who's never heard of us or been in, and then they're like...
We have met so many new people in the last month. We are right in the heart of the CBD here in Christchurch. So if you're not from New Zealand and watching this, or if you've never been to Christchurch before, many moons ago in Christchurch, there was a deeply unfortunate series of earthquakes that pretty much leveled the entire CBD. We are based in one of the few buildings that survived, and so we are kind of here. You may hear construction noises in the background, but we get to be here in the final stages of the CBD fully coming back to life, which is immensely exciting and also a little humbling to know that we get to be a part of a newly rejuvenated city center. And just experiencing the difference of people coming in every day to work, to stop by, to see us, the level of interaction we get to have with our local knitting and crafting community by being here and reaching so many different people is extremely gratifying, even on the days where they're long and tiring. And I feel pretty lucky to get to be doing this.
And so many people are like going back to their workplaces and telling all their friends and encouraging them to try knitting, and
which we love.
Yeah, it's just fun, and the tram goes past a lot, which I like.
It does go past a lot. It
I
makes
like when
it
it
feel
dings
like
its
home.
little bell. It's
It's very cute.
Yeah.
Although normally the tram driver is correctly rage dinging at someone who has stopped on the tracks, which yikes. Yes, so all of that is good. Do not forget, we do also have our online community. Right now it's still called Outlaw Online. If you're trying to navigate to it, it's outlawonline.co.nz. By the time this video comes up, it might have changed to the flockonline.co.nz. I'm just trying to coordinate a time with the people who help us run the network, because they are in California and we are in New Zealand, and those clocks do not match up. Other kind of big important things, our knitting group has gotten themselves together, knowing how busy we were, to organize their own knit along, which is super exciting. So we have a knit along running in our knitting group. So every Wednesday night we all get together here at Get Flocked, and we sit around, please bring your own chair, and eat pizza from hell, or people go and get themselves whatever they feel like from around the area. And then we knit and talk about our knitting and just have a good time. And we have started a lace yoke knit along. Emily, of course, got a jump start and has almost finished hers, which is rude.
I have another one planned though. I've got the pattern and the yarn today. I am making.
Tell the people.
It's called the Catkin pullover, I think. What's it called?
I don't know.
The Lady Catkin pullover.
Lady Catkin pullover.
I think, I'm pretty sure. By Fox and Folk. I don't have a picture, but it's just a sweater with like a yoke panel with some lace. It
has a lot of similarities to ranunculus, except that it's shaped a little differently in a way that you prefer for yourself, right?
Yes. It has like cute little balloon sleeves, and the neck isn't as wide as ranunculus looked. And and I'm doing it in Tweedy Lullaby, which is around here somewhere, but the purple one.
The purple Tweedy.
I'm very excited because I haven't got enough pink or purple.
Never, not even one time. There's no need to knit things in other colors. I feel like this is one of those things.
I mean, there kind of is though, because I kind of need all the colors.
Because you do actually have quite a multicolored wardrobe.
Yes.
You really do. And so this actually leads into another thing about what's going on the Flock Online is I have started running the wardrobe planning group. So one of the things I'm going to be talking about this week in wardrobe planning is replacing things that you already have. Now, Emily has a host of these very cute little textured cardigans. And I feel like you're wearing one of the pattern attempts at replacing your cute little textured cardigan that got close but wasn't quite what you were looking for.
Kind of. This was just I wasn't trying to replicate that exactly. I was just making a little light cardigan.
But were you trying to replicate that into your wardrobe, perhaps? Like, would this serve the same function?
Oh, kind of, except that, so all my other cardigans are one colour.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where I'm missing from my wardrobe is one colour cardigans. Because I have literally I have 10 of the same one in different colours.
Yes, no, I know.
And I feel like I need that, but in handmade ones.
Yes, so I think that's a great place to get to.
Picking not plain things.
Definitely.
Or purple things, or pink things.
Well, you were wearing a yellow one most recently, and the yellow is actually very similar to the sunflower yellow, so I feel like there might be a forthcoming cardigan.
And although I'm about to cast on another DK jumper, I feel like full play...
In purple.
Yeah. I feel like full play is where I need to be most of the year.
Yes, because you're much warmer than I am.
Yeah, and then I can wear more layers, but it's harder to go the other way without being naked.
I feel like this is one of the few days since its completion that I've seen you sans vest.
I haven't worn it this week, actually.
Oh!
Yeah.
I thought you might have become like a bit of a never nude, but with the vest instead of the jorts.
No. But I feel like I also feel like I need more vests.
Yes.
In multiple colours.
Of that one or of a different one?
Different, I think.
The hunt for the perfect yarndle continues.
Yes.
So I have been talking a lot about many different things over the past few years. I've been knitting with a lot of color for the last while. I'm staring at my shift again, which could not have more color in it if I tried. And I'm really enjoying this creamy white jumper that I'm knitting. I've really been motoring through it. The yarn's enjoyable. It's nice to be knitting with new yarn as well. I am enjoying the big diversity of yarns that we have access to at the moment, and just the way that it opens up and reignites my excitement about knitting, because it's easier in a lot of ways to be creative and excited when you have big selections of different colors and textures and pattern in front of you. I am looking forward to the lace yoke knit along. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to finish at least 2 whips before I cast anything else on. I'm not sure what those 2 whips are going to be, but I am going to finish 2 before I cast on my lace yoke, which is going to be Trite, Treit, by Kate Davies. And I'm going to be doing it in, actually I have it right here. I'm going to be doing it in Aspen 4-ply in the colorway Cypress. If you know me at all, you know I am a sucker for woolen spun yarn. And this is a woolen spun yarn made by Wild Earth. It is made from Polwarth, sourced from Oxford, which is just outside of town. And it travels to get here plus or minus 327 kilometers for its whole life, which I think is pretty spectacular, and I'm really excited to give it a try. I do love a commercially dyed yarn and a woolen spun yarn, so this is a match made in heaven for me.
They're so soft as well, those.
They are
I'm excited
super
to knit
soft.
with it too.
I cannot wait to crack into it, but as I said, 2 whips first, and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah, I'm trying to finish this before I start anything else. Not least because I need the needles for my next thing.
Fair.
But,
Fair.
yeah.
I have no idea where you could
close.
possibly get more
So
needles if you
close.
needed them.
But then that just creates more problems, I feel. It gives me more opportunity to have multiple things on the go.
More whips, more problems. More needles, more problems. You heard it from Emily here first. And I'm sure that this sentence will never come back to haunt her in the future.
Whip it real good.
Can you whip it? Whip it real good.
What's the Rhiannon song? Sticks and stones might break my bones, but chains and whips excite me.
Ooh, wow. The song is called S&M. There's
Yeah.
also a remix featuring Britney Spears.
Ooh.
Fun fact. All right, we will be right back with you with a wrap up of what the heck I mean when I say yarn forward design versus non-yarn forward design. What? For our final trick today, I'm going to explain a phrase that I use a lot. And if I've explained this and you've seen this before, you can skip right to the end, but don't stop watching. Slide the little bar till there's 3 seconds left, and then watch the last 3 seconds so that YouTube counts this as a full view. Thank you for your cooperation. And again, before you leave, do the liking and the subscribing and the whatevering, and tell everyone you know about this. Even if they don't knit, make them subscribe. Right? Right. Put it on for your dogs when you leave the house. Dogs love me. This is a universally acknowledged fact. So, yarn forward design versus non-yarn forward design. Emily, do you have any guesses, or have I already rabbited on about you about this enough that you know what I mean by the difference between those two things?
I know what you mean.
Okay. So this is a categorization system that I developed to describe when you can easily, in a straightforward way, substitute a yarn, and when you would need to consider what the original yarn is in a deeper way to get the effect of the design. So yarn forward designs are designs that take advantage of the unique characteristic or property of a specific yarn, so that using that yarn in either the specific color, the specific blend, the combination of those two, will give you the final object that you are looking for, as opposed to substituting it for any other yarn. Now, one of the biggest yarn forward design things that exists in the world today is Spin Cycle, obviously. And I am mad for Spin Cycle. Somehow today I'm not wearing any, which is shocking news.
Or knitting with it.
I know. This is the first time in months that I'm not knitting with Spin Cycle. What is going on with this is Spin Cycle has a very particular characteristic, often imitated, never duplicated. So Spin Cycle mimics hand spun yarn by creating long, slow, fractally plied repeats in either a 2-ply sport weight construction or a 3-ply worsted/DK weight construction. What this means is that when you work with Spin Cycle, it very clearly gives a specific look that is neither a gradient nor is it a self-striping. It's somewhere in between, in a combination of the two. It does both things at the same time. It creates these long, slow color repeats that over the course of an entire batch repeat, but inside of individual skeins most likely will not repeat in the exact order. The combination of these repeats is also chaotic, so it doesn't follow a set spinning standard to produce easily reproducible color repeats. So everything that you get from it is a completely unique knitting and viewing experience when it's finished, and therefore makes it a completely yarn forward thing. So if you think of designs that specifically take advantage of this, you want to think genuinely Andrea Mowry right off the hop. Her Shift series, which is there's a cowl, there's a hat, there's a pullover, there's a shawl, there's a big shawl, there's a cardigan that I've knit. All of those take advantage of the unique properties of Spin Cycle. And while you can change out and use other yarns, you will not get the same overall effect. And that is what I would describe as a yarn forward design. That doesn't mean that it's not possible to get a very beautiful version of all the patterns that I just listed using Spin Cycle in combination with something else or no Spin Cycle whatsoever. But it does mean that if you want the aesthetic that is produced by using Spin Cycle plus Spin Cycle, you have to do it that way. There's no other way to duplicate it. Now, saying that, on the flip side of this, there are yarn patterns that use pretty standard gauge, pretty standard things that you can super easily, without much thought, substitute for. This Bibliophile is a great example of that. So this uses a DK weight yarn, and all you need is a yarn that will produce a fabric that you are happy with at 20 stitches to 10 centimeters on a 4mm needle. Boom, done. Too easy, right? Now, you could achieve that gauge in multiple different ways. You could hold a lace weight boucle or mohair with a fingering weight or 4-ply yarn. You could hold 2 4-ply yarns together. You could hold a DK single. You could even squish worsted down like a 10-ply down and knit it really densely to get that effect. And all of this will add up to a jumper looking pretty much exactly like this one. Now, the benefits of non-yarn forward design when you're a consumer, when you're the knitter, is that it's much easier for you to walk in and immediately make a substitution. One of the most frequent things that I have happen in my working life for the last several years is people coming in to try to get yarn substitutions for petite knits. Now, there are a lot of reasons to knit a petite knit pattern, right? They're relatively aesthetically simple. They often recreate wardrobe staples that you might want to replace with a hand knit. Those are both great goals. If you're somebody who likes to knit seamlessly, I do not believe, and I'm ready to be corrected, that any of her patterns are knit flat and seamed. I think there's all some sort of seamed construction situation involved. Yes?
As far as I know, but yeah.
Yeah, so all of them are seamless. There's a lot of great reasons. The main thing that we run into working on the yarn side of this industry, trying to help you to make the things that you want, which is our main goal, is to help you, the knitter, make the projects of your dreams. That's why we have this shop. That's why we're doing this. And it's why you come in and buy yarn from us, because you know we're going to help you get there, right? When it comes to a petite knits pattern, the most difficult part is the yarn substitution. She uses very regionally specific Danish yarns, normally Sanda's garn. Sometimes she'll use like a Tavini, she'll use many different things that are produced locally to her. And most often held double, occasionally held quadruple. I saw that on a pattern the other day. And making those substitutions, because of the way that the pattern is described, often not giving you meterage amounts, but rather the grams of different types of, very specific types of yarn consumed, can make it quite challenging to do those substitutions. We probably answer these questions 5 or 6 times a week each. And we've gotten really good at helping people with it. But those designs are also a yarn forward design, meaning that if you had access to those exact yarns that are used in those patterns, you could just walk in, buy them, those exact yarns, knit that exact pattern, and end up with something that looks like that. But the reality is, those are, in total, relatively regionally specific yarns. Yes, you can get Isager and Sanda's garn outside of Denmark, that's true, but it's not easily accessible to everyone. Petite Knits also has her own line of yarns, some of which have very beautiful colors in them. And she also tends to use knitting for olive. Now, the good news is we've got a lot of practice at doing this. So we can tell you 9 times out of 10, depending on what you want the aesthetic of the fabric to be and the texture of the fabric to be, you can substitute most of her patterns with a DK weight yarn. But that's not necessarily clear from the pattern itself. Fair?
I feel like a lot of the customers I've helped as well aren't too keen on swatching, which I feel like is a big part of if you're not using the, I mean, you should do it anyway, but if you're not using the exact yarn.
Good save.
If you're not using the exact yarn in the pattern, it's even more important to make sure that what you are using is going to match up.
I 100% agree with that.
Especially when it's like holding however many things, because that can change tension quite a lot.
Significantly.
Yeah. And I think it's trying to explain to people why that's so important as well, because they're just like, I just want to make it. And it's like, well, to make it well, you need
to match that gauge and find a fabric that you're happy with. I kind of like to think of swatching as testing your fabric, right? So if we start thinking and talking about it in these terms, it gets a little easier. Now, this is all to say, we can help you and you can learn to substitute anything for anything. There is a way forward with every pattern, but some things occasionally, to get the desired result, you will have to hunt up the exact yarn necessary, especially when it comes to a textured effect. So there are yarns like the Woolfolk brand of yarns. Woolfolk makes beautiful yarns. I love them. Also, very difficult to substitute for. They have several yarns that are a chainette construction. Chainette can be quite difficult to substitute due to the way it's constructed. And they also have several semi-wrap spun textured yarn like Fletta and Fletta Bulky. Both beautiful, both really challenging to substitute.
I was just going to say, also when you get into the bulky conundrum, that can make things more complicated.
Fully agree. Anything over that worsted weight, even getting into Aran weight, it gets squirrely immediately. The thicker the yarn, the more amount of variance inside of yarn production that there is. So if you're looking to make something in a bulky or a super bulky yarn, you most likely will get the best possible result by finding the yarn that the designer has used, or creating something of similar thickness, and as Emily already alluded to, swatching. So yarn forward design in brief are designs that are specifically made to use specific yarns. Non-yarn forward designs are specifically for those not designed like that. Now, somebody has helpfully just come in, which is perfect, because we wanted to wrap up anyway. So we will see you for a live next Saturday and possibly another pre-recorded on Tuesday at some point in the future. Don't hold us to that. We're doing our best to get this all sorted. If you have any questions about anything we talked about today, you can of course email us at getflockedknitting@gmail.com. And if you want to get in on our Wednesday night knitting or jump in on the knit-alongs that we have running right now, please feel free. And if you have any questions, you know where to find us, and we hope you have a great Saturday. Maybe go to Butter. Definitely go to Butter if you're in Christchurch. If you're in Christchurch and you're watching this and you're not going to Butter on Saturday, there is something wrong with you. Okay. Is that I think that's the most important PSA, right?
Yeah.
Reminding everyone to go see Quarantine. Great. All right. Bye.